Alright guys, let's do this one last time. My name is Coop, and I'm a veteran Pokemon trainer. And for many years I've been looking for that elusive, difficult Pokemon game until I finally set myself the challenge of playing the ultimate Pokemon adventure. I'm sure you guys know the rest. I caught some awesome Pokemon, beat some gyms, saved the world. And then I saved the world again. And again. And then I also did this. Yeah, we don't really talk about this. Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've made some highly questionable plays in my time, lost some pretty winnable battles, and been overwhelmed by some truly monstrous strategies while taking on this challenge for the first time. But after everything, I still love playing this game. I mean, who wouldn't? So no matter how many losses I take, I always find a way to come back. Now all that's left for us to conquer is the Pokemon League. There's only one person who is going to be the champion, and you're looking at him. Gary! Wait, no, I mean me! After many long hours of strategic battle prep and exhilarating fights, we somehow had finally managed to get our hands on our 8th and final gym badge. After a successful outing at the Viridian City Gym, where we managed to slay Claire's dragons. With all 8 badges in hand, we would be able to finally make our way to the Pokemon's largest stage for trainers across the world. The Indigo Plateau, location of the one and only Pokemon League. For the Kanto region at least. Before we could set foot on those lofty heights though, we would need to navigate one final obstacle and successfully navigate the path of champions, Victory Road. A route filled with the strongest trainers across the land who are also looking to test their mettle before making their plight to become the region's strongest trainer, the Pokemon Champion. With spring in our step and a dream in our future, the team were ready to take on this last test as we headed west from Viridian and into the unknown. As we wandered down Route 22, it was clear how far we'd come, seeing the levels of wild Pokemon that had once rivaled our own Pokemon strength right at the start of our adventure. Even a wild Tornadus could sense how powerful they had become, seeing little option but to flee before them. Speaking of rivals, as is tradition in the old school Pokemon games, Gary had been waiting for us to arrive, as he was preparing to muster his own challenge on the League. The once hallowed ground, which had borne witness to a simple encounter between a Bulbasaur and a Mudkip, was to once again see a clash between the two youngsters from Pallet Town, but on a much grander scale. Gary had clearly been taking his training seriously, fielding a team of formidable Pokemon. Fierce blow after fierce blow, the combatants took each other down as the momentum shifted from one party to another. A closely fought duel between fellow grass poison types saw Mega Venusaur narrowly emerge as the victor against Rose, highlighting how, from this point on, the outcome of each exchange could be poised on a knife edge. The team refused to yield though, toughing out more attacks to hit their opponents hard. Momentum continued to change hands while Gary pivoted his Pokemon with well-timed U-turns and flip turns to gain an advantage that become difficult to predict. That was until I decided, well, I might as well just keep clicking Drain Punch. Sometimes the simplest strategy is the best, as Warrior proceeded to tank the hits and claim victory for the team. Despite victory, Gary still somehow managed to convince himself that he was the real winner, and we still had a long way to go. His words were left ringing on my ears, as we took a moment to take in what we were about to attempt. These battles were sure to be the toughest of our lives, and we need to make sure we were laser focused to avoid any "Ooh, a Caesarite, nice!" Wait, where was I? Toughest battles, laser focus. Ah yes, here we are. The gates of the Pokemon League. This was it. One by one we showed off our credentials. The Boulder Badge, earned from our very first gym battle where Brock gave us our first true taste of how strong teams in Radical Red could be. The Cascade Badge, where Misty served us our very first humbling. The Thunder Badge, where Lieutenant Surge gave us our very first sighting of a Mega Pokemon. The Rainbow Badge, where Erica showed us the power of a fully evolved, synergized terrain-boosted squad. The Soul Badge, where the game definitely messed up the order because it was meant to be Sabrina next, not Koga, but nevertheless, Koga showed us the power of speedy Pokemon and the upper hand that can be achieved by moving first. The Marsh Badge, where Sabrina proved the strength of strategy in the double battle format, with her Trick Room boosted squad. The Volcano Badge, where Blaine taught us how to use our own opponent's strength against them to achieve victory. And finally, the Rising Badge, where Claire gave us our final test of what we could expect to see from the region's strongest trainers. And with that, we had made it to the entrance of Victory Road. Not gonna lie, it was kind of ominous that there was a nurse droid just waiting for us at the entrance, foreshadowing at its finest. We took a deep breath and proceeded forwards. Though, it seemed we weren't going in just yet, as we were halted by another rival. It was Brendan again, but this time, his manner was different. It seemed he was struggling to come to terms with how strong everyone had become, and how weak he felt in comparison. Despite these feelings of turmoil, he fearlessly challenged us to one final battle. We accepted. Another test to see how far we had come. Now bear in mind, just moments ago, Brendan had been commenting about how he was weak. He decided to lead with a Deoxys. Sir, how did you acquire this? It took down Slingshot before we even had a chance to attack, landing a frostbite to take us out before our Phantom Force could connect. Mystique came in, hoping to handle this threat, and set up a calm mind to start tanking some of its attacks on the special side. However, the Deoxys revealed that it had extreme speed, which I had assumed because it is a Deoxys after all, but I had not anticipated it would be able to take us down in 2 hits. Sir, I'ma need this, but I could never put a dent in you scenario that you were talking about before we started this battle. Sharpish, please. We were down 2 Pokemon right off the bat. We needed a hero, and who better to lead the comeback than my dude? A swift bullet punch brought the Deoxys down to its sash, while my dude could tank whatever attack came its way. It was here I made my move. The superpower had just lowered Deoxys' attack, and knowing that the bug's steel typing resisted 2 of its moves already, and a likely final psychic attack, I decided to try and start setting up. Firstly, I went for a roost to start clawing back health on my dude, with the combination of this and the leftovers more than healing off the damage taken. Once I was in a healthy enough position, I went for a sword stance to bolster my attack. I repeated this process until all my roosts were gone, and I had managed to get off 2 sword stances in the passage of play. Once back to almost full health, I fired off a bullet punch to take down the Deoxys. Now we were cooking. We had a +4 Caesar ready to change the tide of battle, and nothing could stop us now. We had a +2 Caesar ready to change the tide of battle, and nothing could stop us now. My dude handled the Huntail and Landorus without too much of a fuss, however couldn't take down the Galarian Zapdos due to those Intimidate attack drops, and finally went down to a close combat. Thankfully, Warrior could take down the Zapdos on the following turn, thanks to a fake out. Also, can we just note that 3 of the 4 Pokemon Brendan has used so far have been mythical/legendary Pokemon? I think I've been hustled here. Brendan was down to his final 2 Pokemon, and there was a pretty good chance that one of them was going to be his Mega Sceptile that he has been using throughout the entire adventure. He sent out his next Pokemon and another mystical Pokemon. Ooh, Brendan, you are a fibber. You are a fibber. Jirachi is a frustrating Pokemon, thanks to its Serene Grace ability, which doubles the chances of secondary effects happening. I decided to risk an inevitable Zen Headbutt, which would have had a 60% chance to flinch Warrior, and try to heal off any damage we took with a Drain Punch if we could break through. We got lucky, and managed to successfully do some damage to the Jirachi. This meant that we could attempt to go for an attack again, as Zen Headbutt couldn't take us out from this range. This time though, we were going for Plasma Fists, as this attack was stronger and had a chance to take out the Jirachi from its current health. But again, we needed to get lucky and avoid that flinch. Warrior is made of some pretty stern stuff, breaking through the flinch once again to take down that Jirachi. Finally, that Mega Sceptile came in, and put Warrior out of commission with an Earthquake. This put me in a tight spot. Swamps was next to useless in this matchup, being outsped and likely taken down by a Technician boosted 4 times effective Bullet Seed. The fate of the battle came down to whether Rose was able to take an attack from the Sceptile. A Life Orb Sludge Bomb would definitely KO the Sceptile here, but my survival was definitely a roll. It seemed that Arceus was smiling down on us for this one, as the Scale Shot which followed only hit us twice, and we survived by the skin of our teeth. I guess they do say that champions need a bit of luck from time to time. Brendan was gracious in defeat, stating that he was feeling discouraged, and was wrong to shoot for the stars. Bro, you almost destroyed my soul, what do you even mean? Nonetheless, he handed us his prized Mega Sceptile, and headed back home to train with his father in the Hoenn region. With Brendan bested, we could enter Victory Road at last, and begin the final ascent towards Indigo Plateau. Now, I'm not saying that this final hurdle was tough, But if wild Pokemon were anything to go by, we were in for one heck of a finale. Our Infinite Repel did nothing as the wild Pokemon here matched our team's current level of 82. In some ways, I'm glad they did though, as it meant we were able to get our hands on a Metagross, an Iron Valiant, and a Goodra within the very first room of the cave. Eventually we stumbled upon our first trainer, Ace Trainer Naomi. As I entered this battle, I had no idea the horror that was awaiting me. Naomi had one Pokemon that I was not prepared for, at all. Not this mousehold that you can see on screen, rather a Shedinja. For those of you who don't know, Shedinja only has 1 HP, but it has the ability Wonder Guard. This protects it from taking damage against moves which are not super effective against it. Throughout the entirety of my team, I had a grand total of 2 moves that could deal damage to this monster, and both of those were on a Pokemon that was weak to Shedinja's Ghost-type moves. What could possibly go wrong with this scenario? I had to wait a while before I could get Slingshot in against it, as attempting to switch in could prove disastrous if it was to be greeted by a Ghost-type attack. Eventually, at the expense of Warrior, I managed to get Slingshot in safely, but there was a dilemma here. What move should I go for? The Poltergeist attack was imminent, and it would hit us hard. I judged that we would probably take one attack safely, and it even had a chance to miss us, having only 90% base accuracy. The difficulty here was, we needed to decide whether to go for a Will-O-Wisp to burn the Shedinja and take it down to 0 HP, while also weakening the power of the Poltergeist, or to attempt to knock it out with a Phantom Force. There was an unspoken problem with this latter strategy, being that I had guessed that the Shedinja was most likely holding a Focus Sash, so that meant it would take 2 hits, not 1. So going for a Will-O-Wisp would have been the better play, right? Well, not quite. See, Will-O-Wisp only has an 85% accuracy, meaning it could miss. Ultimately, I weighed up that missing would leave us in a worse position, and decided that consistently hitting twice with a 100% accurate move was a much safer option, given that we'd probably be able to take an attack. We successfully landed our attack, and, as predicted, the Focus Sash was revealed. Now all we needed to do was survive the attack, and we'd be able to... Oh no. Oh no. A critical hit. Well, I guess that's the battle. I did try to see if I could stall out the PP on all of Shedinja's attacks so that it would start struggling, but it was a futile effort. In hindsight, I definitely think I misplayed in this scenario. Due to the Shedinja having Shadow Sneak, we'd actually never have been able to get in that second attack anyway, even if we did survive the Poltergeist, which, in truth, I don't even think we did, so that crit didn't matter. So Will-O-Wisp was definitely the better choice here. Every battle makes us stronger though, and helped us focus up to avoid these kind of slip-ups on the main stage. We made the trip back to Victory Road after making a single change to the team and teaching dual wing beat to my dude, so that it could handle that Shedinja easily. The rest of the battle was fairly straightforward from then on, with my dude being able to handle the majority of Naomi's team through a combination of pounces and bullet punches, while also outmaneuvering a Mega Absol, predicting a Sucker Punch to execute a perfectly timed roost to continue with the sweep. We did need to switch her out though, so that Swamps could handle a tricky Garvantula, which happened to know Energy Ball, so that would only end up badly for us. My dude came back in to take down the Garvantula with a final bullet punch, and we had managed to pass our first test. As we continued on through the twisting caverns, we continued to stumble upon a plethora of strong trainers, some of which the likes I had never seen before. One trainer had a Mega Kingler, an entirely new Pokemon exclusive to Radical Red, boasting incredibly high attack, unbelievable speed, and a very diverse moveset. It claimed a second defeat against our team as it proceeded to sweep through my entire team and send us back to Viridian. It was really starting to hit home at this point how a single gap in knowledge could lead to the complete destruction of our team. In total, it turned out there were 6 ace trainers on this route, and not a single one of them was skippable. One by one, the team went up against these elite opponents, fending off shell-smashing foes, countless Mega Pokemon. Well, actually, this number was 6, funnily enough, and a plethora of very well-designed teams. At around the halfway mark, we actually took a break from these intense battles, as we stumbled upon the final Pokemon of the legendary bird trio. Turned out that this break was much shorter than anticipated, as we caught it after only 3 Ultra Balls. Perhaps this was the sign that we were truly destined to become a Pokemon Master. We continued to solve the boulder puzzles dotted around the tunnels, slowly progressing ever closer to our ultimate goal, taking down ace trainers along the way. It really felt that the team was gelling at this point, being able to switch in to cover each other's weaknesses, and dish out the damage against whatever our opponents could throw at us. Each battle left us on the brink of defeat, but somehow the team pulled through, and after what looked like the final set of trainers, challenging us to a double battle using just a Nido King and Nido Queen, we had made it to what looked like the end of Victory Road. As we scrambled towards the faint light coming through what looked like an exit, I thought there was one final test for us, but it turned out to just be a move tutor who was able to teach our Pokemon the move Close Combat. Did that mean that this was officially the end? As we emerged from the tunnel, we were greeted by Nurse Joy again. You could call this a bit of foreshadowing, but I didn't care. We had officially made it to the summit, the Indigo Plateau. This was it. Nothing could stand in our way as we approached. Oh, it stood in our way. This was it. Nothing could stand in our way now as we approached the Pokemon League. The feelings I could feel in this moment really did bring back those nostalgic vibes I had not really experienced since my very first outing in the original Pokemon Red and Blue games. The team had travelled so far, and everything we had been through had led up to this moment. With a deep breath, I finally took my step towards destiny. What? Oh? Who was this? Seemed we weren't quite done yet. There was one final test that we had to pass, and it was set by none other than the game creator themselves. It was a long hike back through Victory Road, so we were going to need to rustle up our courage one last time as we launched into battle. The creator led with a Gigalith, a level 100 Gigalith. Oh no. It whipped up the Sandstream to bolster its special defense. I elected to go for a Will-O-Wisp, knowing that this was a physical attacker and it wouldn't appreciate the burn. We needed to make up that 15 level difference somehow, and then it just exploded. On a ghost type. Huh? Well, it seemed the creator was still confident in his ability to win, so maybe I was about to see some Radical Red Strat come into play. Next came a Shedinja, but this time we were ready to deal with it. I readied up a Will-O-Wisp so we could take it out through a sash no matter what. It connected, so we'd probably be able to live whatever it went for. And it went for a Phantom Force. A move that takes 2 turns to hit in a sandstorm with 1 HP. Yeah, it went down. He then proceeded to send out another Shedinja. I missed the Will-O-Wisp this time, but the same story repeated itself. It was around the 4th Shedinja that I realised this was a bit of a meme battle, and it was absolutely brilliant. It really felt like the creator had put their heart into this game, and was able to inject a bit of fun for those who had taken on the challenge to make it this far. Or perhaps it was some much needed comic relief for what was about to transpire. He left us with a chilling statement, stating that Gary had gathered some sick Pokemon on his journey, and we were going to need to be at our best to make it through this one. While I pondered what could be waiting for us, the moment had finally come. For real this time. There were no more memes, no more encounters. Once we stepped through these doors, all that remained was the Elite Four. The lobby was much as to be expected, a standard Pokemon Center and Pokemart combo, much like the original games. What was different, however, was the demeanour of a certain Nurse Joy. Well, alright then. This was a clear indicator that we might be speaking to this particular Nurse Joy a fair few times. Having stocked up on items, so we could heal as necessary, all that remained now was for us to prepare our team for the battles ahead. Now, in case some of you haven't ever played a Pokemon game before, if so, I'm impressed you've made it this far into the series. You get a gold star! The Elite Four works slightly differently to other stages of the game. In the adventure up until this point, we have been able to freely change our team after every single battle. This has enabled us to run dedicated teams for a given scenario, whether it be anticipating water types, electric types, rain teams, sand teams, and so on. The Elite Four, however, works completely differently. The 6 Pokemon you take in with you are the 6 Pokemon you will have for the entirety of the challenge. That means, rather than having a team of 6 Pokemon, which is dedicated to a single opponent, the Pokemon you take need to be versatile, and able to hold their own against 4 of the strongest trainers in the land. Fortunately, we had some knowledge about the teams we would face, to an extent, as each member of the Elite Four usually focused on a particular type of Pokemon. Lorelei was an Ice-type trainer, Bruno a Fighting-type master, Agatha and her spooky ghost types, and of course Lance, the Dragon-type legend who we saw on our last outing versus Giovanni. Remember these were his B-listers? Yeah. Each of these trainers' teams would be monstrous, featuring the pinnacle of their given type's Pokemon, carefully synergized with one another. We were going to need to match that, and make sure we had a dedicated team member for each opponent. As I looked through my boxes, I was trying to work out who we could bring to counter the members. I flipped and I flopped between which Pokemon covered the most bases, and I even threw all of my Pokemon into a single box to see them side by side. But through all my iterations, there was one feeling I was not able to shake. Over the last multiple hours of gameplay, there had been one team that had been with me through thick and thin over the last leg of our journey. We had battled against a multitude of opponents, claiming victory in some truly close encounters, and I had become sort of attached to them. In the original games, my Elite Four team, as I'm sure many trainers amongst me will say the same, was always my Pokemon that I had taken with me for the bulk of my Pokemon adventure, and the more I looked at it, the more it made sense. My dude had already proven his worth against the Ice types during our battle with Ice Veteran Price, so she'd be able to hold her own in that battle surely. For Bruno's fighting types, we'd be able to lean on Mystique's quad resistance of their stab moves, while also filling the Mega Pokemon slot that we had. Slingshot had more than proven his worth since we rescued him from the shady underbelly of Rocket Corner, and had an impressive speed stat that complemented a strong attack stat that would likely enable him to stand tall against Agatha and Lance's Pokemon. Rose had already shown that she was a master of weather conditions, so would be able to allow us to keep pace with potential weather conditions and take the initiative against our opponents. We then had an excellent defensive bulk and coverage in the form of Warrior, helping to plug the gaps in our already formidable front line. And of course, that final slot. How could we not give it to that one remaining Pokemon? A Pokemon without whom this adventure would never have even begun. Swamps, cited as the most critted Pokemon in Pokemon history, rounding off an otherwise perfect team of heroes. Yeah, this was it. This was the team. This moment felt like the quiet before the storm. We had selected our champions, we had strategized and completed our movesets. All we had to do now was pass through that iconic threshold, and our challenge would begin. Some final words from our fellow competitors did little to settle our nerves. Sprinkles. She definitely said Sprinkles. Another deep breath, and we headed in. Lorelei was first up, and welcomed us to Pokemon League officially. It was only moments before we were flung into our very first battle, and it was revealed this was going to be a double battle. Oh no. I was in no way prepared for this. With Slingshot being in the second slot, he was going to be vulnerable against their attacks. Luckily, I had taught him U-turn, so we'd be able to get out of there sharpish. Given that Dragapult had one of the fastest speed stats in the game, we could get off some damage before even taking a hit. Except, there was one issue. The Ninetales had set up a Snowscape thanks to its Snow Warning ability, and this had triggered a Slush Rush ability on the opposing Glaceon, which meant it completely outsped me. And to make matters worse, the snow boosted its Blizzard to 100% accuracy. It took out Slingshot in a single hit, and Swamps wasn't looking too great either. To add to our woes, the Ninetales set up an Aurora Veil, which reduced damage from both physical and special attacks on our opponent's side of the field. Swamps did manage to get up some rocks, but this was a disastrous first turn for us. We needed to get rid of that snow, pronto. I sent in Rose, knowing that we most likely faced another Blizzard, but the damage was being shared between two Pokemon, and Rose had a respectable special defense stat. I looked to set up a sunny day while thinking to let Swamps go down to the imminent Blizzard attack. I had thought to send in my dude, but I wanted to keep her with as much health as possible to start dishing out some damage in return. The Blizzards blew in, taking down Swamps, and Rose in a single hit. Oh no. We had lost half of our team, and not even laid a scratch on our opponent. But luckily, the cavalry had arrived. Warrior and my dude came in, and we could finally start hitting back with some force. Warrior would be able to fake out the Glaceon, which would enable my dude to start dancing with swords to bolster her attack, without the threat of being attacked twice. Since the snow was still falling, Lorelei's ice types were receiving a defense boost of 1.5 times. Plus, we still had those pesky screes to circumnavigate, so the attack boost would be greatly appreciated. Lorelei took the chance to safely change out Ninetales for a Rotom Wash, which was a strong pivot from her side. This meant she had gone from 4 times weak to Steel to a 4 times resist Steel. My dude was severely hampered. The combatants clashed on the next turn, with powerful attacks hitting both sides of the field. And hard. The Glaceon went down to a Bullet Punch, Drain Punch combo, but our side took heavy damage from a Blizzard and Thunderbolt combo of their own. A Baxcalibur was revealed as the replacement Pokemon, an Ice Dragon type. My dude once again fired off a Bullet Punch, dealing considerable damage to it, though it proved in vain as our side of the field was once again wiped out by a Glaive Rush and Volt Switch combo. We were down to our last Pokemon, Mystique. Our advantage was that this was our Mega Pokemon, so we were going to get a nice power boost, but Lorelei had just sent out her Mega Pokemon too. My first priority was to take out that dragon, as I lined up a Moonblast to take it down, which was when it revealed a Protect. We took a Giga Drain from the Abomasnow fairly decently, though any damage at this point was going to make Mystique's work so much harder. The Baxcalibur went down on the following turn, deciding not to risk another turn of Protect, while the Abomasnow continued to whittle down our health with a Blizzard. It was then Lorelei revealed her final Pokemon, a Calyrex, in the Ice Rider form. Mystique fired off one final Moonblast before being taken down by a Blizzard. That battle was a whitewash. I'll be honest with you guys, I felt that battle was lost from turn 1, despite trying to pull back with some strategies of my own. The combination of the Aurora Veil and the Snowscape was truly devastating. My Pokemon could barely put a dent in the opposing Pokemon if we allowed that Ninetales to do what it wanted. It was in this moment that I ultimately made the decision to completely shake up the team. This was Radical Red. That kind of sentiment meant you were going to get chewed up and spat out in this Thunderdome. The team fought bravely, and we had managed to see every single member of Lorelei's team, which was a huge step, but I could already feel we needed to change if we wanted to progress. And so, it was back to the drawing board. I spent the next half an hour carefully considering my options. We needed to somehow achieve both power and bulk, speed and recovery, maneuverability and coverage. We needed to be able to control the weather instantly, change terrains at will, and gain advantages from our disadvantages. So, viewers, allow me to introduce you to our next competitors. The Dual Screen Master, VGC. The Defensive Powerhouse, Tyranitar. The Most Valuable Player, MVP. The Uncatchable Jet, Slingshot. The Steel Soldier, Metallica. And lastly, the Winged Wonder, Lancelot. With the newly forged team, we were ready to go again. It looked like the battle format was set to be doubles, so having VGC on board would work wonders for strengthening our team defensively, while also being able to hamper our opponents. Plus, it was also nice to include her, considering the countless times she had supported our team throughout the journey. Seriously, for all those Pachirisu doubters out there, this Pokemon is amazing. We stepped into the arena, ready to go toe-to-toe with Lorelei again. This time we fought fire with fire, or rather, snow with sand. VGC and Tyranitar led this time, and due to Tyranitar being slower than Ninetales, our Sandstream was set up second, completely negating the snowscape that was created. This was the level of strategy that Radical Red needed. In order to shore up our defences, VGC set up a light screen, which meant that any ice attacks the opposing Ninetales and Glaceon went for would do significantly less damage. Unfortunately, it was revealed that the Ninetales had the ability to set up the snowscape again, and that meant that Blizzard was once again going to be 100% accurate from the Glaceon. This was fine though, as we had an Assault Vest on Tyranitar, and that light screen to reduce damage, so there was nothing to worry about. Oh, come on! A critical hit on both of our Pokemon. This was outrageous luck. As a useful piece of knowledge for anyone thinking to attempt this challenge one day, a critical hit completely negates the effects of screens and stat boosts on the defending Pokemon, meaning we took full damage from this attack on both of our Pokemon. That stung. I'll be honest with you guys, I went on full tilt from that first turn and made some terrible, terrible plays that are painful to watch back. So here's a picture of a happy little Charmander instead. Aw, isn't it cute? Yeah, that's definitely worth a click of that subscribe button. Alright, bad judgments and bad luck aside, I thought this team actually felt pretty good. It definitely had something about it, to help us get through Lorelei at least, so we could gain some knowledge on the next Elite Four member, Bruno. We went in again, this time launching a full-on assault with Metallica and Tyranitar. Right off the bat, we Mega Evolved Metallica and fired off a Bullet Punch to swiftly dispatch the Alolan Ninetales. No Snowscape meant that Blizzard from the opposing Glaceon had a chance to now miss. And oh boy, did justice come full circle on this one, as Blizzard not only missed Metallica, but Tyranitar as well. The luck had done a massive U-turn for this battle, it seemed, as Tyranitar scored a critical hit to take down Lorelei's side of the field. This was the perfect start. The Rotom and Baxcalibur were the next Pokemon to enter the fray, and I immediately noted the Baxcalibur as the threat, as given that the Sandstorm was up, the Rotom was posing little threat to Tyranitar with its special attacks. I doubled down to take down the Baxcalibur. However, Lorelei predicted this, choosing to go for a Protect in that slot. All we could do was take a stab Thunderbolt and watch as our opponents took no damage. Turn 2, not so good. I now had a dilemma on my hands. I wanted to double in on the Baxcalibur again, but feared a potential AI read of this, and it attempted to go for the infamous Double Protect. Instead, I elected it might be better to go for a flinch on the Rotom with Zen Headbutt, getting some damage off on it at the same time, and hit the Baxcalibur hard with a Stone Edge. We dealt some decent damage to the Rotom, activating its Citrus Berry, but we were hit hard by a super strong Glaive Rush and Thunderbolt combo from our opponents. Our Behemoth stood strong and survived the onslaught, with Tyranitar able to retaliate with a critical hit Stone Edge and take down the Baxcalibur. The Abomasnow took this as its moment to come in, bringing the dreaded snow back into play. We needed to get Tyranitar out of there, as his Sandstream could decide the tide of battle, and also consider preserving Metallica's priority Bullet Punch for later in the battle. So, an entire team change was in order. Predicting a Thunderbolt in Metallica's slot, VGC was the natural switch in, and anticipating that a Grass-type move was inbound, I decided that MVP was the best candidate to sponge that attack. It appeared, however, that Lorelei really wanted that Tyranitar gone, doubling into the slot with a Giga Drain and Scald combo. Unfortunately, that snow was already starting to become a problem. On the next turn, VGC was able to set up her light screen, but it wasn't enough to protect MVP from the incoming Blizzard from a Slush Rush boosted Mega Abomasnow. To make matters worse, the Rotom landed the burn on VGC from a following Scald attack. And then I made a boo-boo. I sent in a flying type, Lancelot, against an electric type. This was not going to end well. Except, it was actually premeditated. See, Lancelot had access to Protect, which meant I could bait the Thunderbolt from the Rotom to allow VGC to safely Volt Switch into our fastest Pokemon, Slingshot. With Slingshot, we would be able to again manipulate the AI into going for a Blizzard in an attempt to take out the Dragapult in one shot. But due to his superior speed, Slingshot would be able to switch into Tyranitar using U-turn, who would then remove the snow and set up his own Sandstorm, hence reducing the damage from the opposing Abomasnow's Blizzard, surviving the attack and winning us the day. Hooray! Except, it turns out, Slingshot did not outspeed the Abomasnow, due to it being a timid nature. Oh, no. The Blizzard chilled our side of the field, striking at the heart of our Pokemon, but we survived. Slingshot was able to pivot into Tyranitar, who got rid of the troublesome snow thanks to the Sandstream ability, while Rotom sent another Thunderbolt Lancelot's way. Battling against the elements, Lancelot survived and hurled itself towards the Abomasnow, striking back with another well-placed critical hit. The Pokégods were really smiling down upon the team for this battle. Lorelei went into her final Pokemon, Calyrex. This battle was far from done, so we needed to play smart to see it through. Lancelot once again protected on the expected electric attack, while Tyranitar was using every rock it could find to hurl in the direction of that Calyrex. It connected, but was not enough to take it down, as the Calyrex retaliated with a Glacial Lance to take down Tyranitar. The Calyrex was getting scary, activating its ability to raise its attack. Thankfully, we still had a Bullet Punch in the back from Metallica, and this was enough to take it down before it had a chance to strike on the next go. Lancelot was also spared from defeat, as VGC came in to take a Volt Switch from the Rotom. And from here, the battle was ours. Metallica sealed the deal with a well-placed Zen Headbutt to finally take down the Rotom, and Lorelei had been bested. We were finally on the board with our very first victory in the Pokemon League. The team synergy was starting to become apparent, with control over weather conditions proving to be crucial in our bid on becoming the Pokemon champion. There was no time for celebration though, as we had only just begun our challenge after all. It was time for the next room, where Bruno was waiting for us. I made some slight adjustments to the team lineup and movesets, tweaking our coverage to better deal with Bruno's fighting type Pokemon. Protect on Tyranitar was going to be crucial for baiting attacks thanks to its 4 times weakness, allowing our other Pokemon to attack risk-free. With Metallica and Lancelot leading the charge, it felt like we had the coverage we needed to start strong and hit Bruno hard. Before I knew it, it was time for our second battle. Hoo-ha! To start things off, Bruno led with an Infernape and... just an Infernape. Wait, so these aren't all double battles? Oh no. This was going to be one of those think on your feet kind of battles, wasn't it? This was not a great matchup to start, with Infernape likely able to hit us hard with a Flare Blitz. I had no choice but to switch immediately into Slingshot to try to sponge the damage. However, the Infernape chose to taunt us instead. This rendered half of Slingshot's moveset useless now. However, we still had access to Dragon Darts, which could break the Infernape's potential sash and potentially one-shot if we got lucky. Sadly, we couldn't rely on luck this time, but still scored some good damage against our opponent. The Infernape managed to get some Stealth Rocks set up on our side as a result. Knowing we outsped, I went for another Dragon Darts to take down our opponent, but Bruno made a switch here, revealing that he had an absolute powerhouse in his ranks, Zacian. Being a Fairy-type Pokemon, Zacian was immune to our Dragon Darts attack, and to make things even worse, it received an attack boost upon switching in. This was terrifying. Zacian is incredibly fast, boasts an excellent typing, and was now behind a +1 to its already formidable attack stat. I was going to lose a Pokemon here, I could tell. I needed to grasp some momentum. Any momentum. The problem with changing Pokemon during a moment like this is that whatever came in was not going to appreciate a likely boosted Fairy-type attack, and we'd end up in the same situation on the following turn. Though it was unfortunate, we had to let Slingshot go down. Turns out, the Zacian didn't seem to have access to a Fairy-type attack, and instead hit us with a powerful Behemoth Blade. And by some miracle, Slingshot had managed to survive the hit. As a result, we were able to U-turn out of there and safely bring in another Pokemon. In hindsight, had I anticipated the possibility that we would survive an attack, Will-O-Wisp was objectively the better play here, as it would cut Zacian's attack in half. Nevertheless, we could bring in VGC and start setting up other defensive measures with a Reflect, but even with this setup, VGC still took a huge chunk of damage. With the Reflect up, we could safely bring in some of our stronger attackers into the fray, but first needed a way to get them in without taking a ton of damage. It was here that Slingshot's time was up for the battle, as even though a close combat would have no effect on him, the Stealth Rock set up earlier in the battle removed its final sliver of health. However, we had a chance from here to start clawing back some momentum. Metallica could come in and fire off an Earthquake to hit the Zacian for some huge damage, and then finish it off with a Bullet Punch on the following turn. Or at least that was the plan, until Bruno revealed he had an Urshifu. We dealt some damage with the Earthquake, but not enough for a 2-hit KO. I needed some time to think, and decided to scout what attacks this Urshifu had. It was a Dark type, so it probably had some of those in its weapons locker, but I needed to see the scale of what we were working with. So I went for a Protect, completely forgetting that Urshifu has the unique ability Unseen Fist, which bypasses protection moves when a Pokemon uses a contact move. We took a full force Wicked Blow without retaliating at all. Score 1 for the Coop is bad at Pokemon pile. Now we were in a real predicament. There was no way that this Urshifu didn't have Sucker Punch tucked away in its move pool, and I wasn't sure if we would outspeed it with a Bullet Punch to get some chip damage. Coupled with this, if we switched out, Metallica could no longer be used, as the next switch in saw it go down to Stealth Rock damage. After some pondering, I decided it better to save Metallica as switch-in fodder in case we needed to pivot, and bring in Lancelot safely on the expected Sucker Punch. Fortunately, we called it correctly, as the Sucker Punch was revealed. And then came the setup games. I decided to start bulking up to bolster our defences, and start tanking hits from the Urshifu through the use of bulk up. This not only made us stronger defensively, but also boosted our offensive power. If we could just set up enough of these, we might have had a chance. It seemed, however, the Urshifu was equal to us, setting up a sword stance of its own. And it was here that I made a critical error. I had forgotten that the move Wicked Blow always results in a critical hit, which meant that boosting our defences had been entirely pointless, as Lancelot was taken out in a single attack. This Urshifu was proving to be the bane of my Pokemon existence. It was time to resort to some underhand tactics. I had equipped VGC with the move Toxic, which would steadily weaken the Urshifu over time, and we might just survive long enough to see it taken down. I clicked Toxic, knowing I would go first due to the Prankster ability. However, for some unknown reason, it did not affect the opposing Urshifu. I was perplexed. It wasn't being blocked by an ability, typing, or Urshifu already having a status condition. I thought perhaps the game had glitched out, and we had just been unlucky with an error in the coding at that moment. VGC was powerless against the Urshifu as a result, and could do nothing but take a couple of close combats before fainting. At this point, I knew in my heart the battle was lost, so once again needed to scout for more information. We didn't really get any more information though, sadly, other than that Zacian was bloomin' strong. We wiped out, and were sent back to the Pokemon Center. It was time to analyse the team again. Were there any weaknesses that I had to adjust for? That Urshifu had identified some glaring holes in our defences, highlighting that we were particularly weak to Dark-type moves as a whole. We also needed to work out VGC's worth outside of double battles. It was handy to have, but were we sacrificing a slot where we could have a more offensive power instead? I took a long hard look, but decided that, no, the team wasn't the issue. The issue was me. I needed to focus up and make sure I was really preparing between battles, maximising the synergy between my team to handle the ever-changing situation, changing movesets, held items, and possibly even shaking up the Mega Pokemon I was using. And I needed to play better in the moment. From here on out, there would be no more mistakes. Probably. Maybe. By this point, Lorelei was becoming trivial. Thanks to VGC and Tyranitar, we'd found a way to handle the hard-hitting Hailstormers. The true test lay beyond her doors. It was time for our rematch with Bruno. VGC was ready to go against that tricky Infernape, ready to put up our Reflect before getting taunted into switching. And from there, we'd start gaining the momentum. A few deep breaths, and it was time to duel! Bruno sat there ready to roll, as he sent out, "Huh? That's not an Infernape." So this was the moment I discovered that the Elite Four members could actually have one of two teams they could use against you each time you challenged them. We had somehow managed to get the same Lorelei team in all of our previous challenges, so this caught me completely off guard. We were in a bad spot right off the bat here. Nevertheless, VGC was unfazed, setting up her Reflect in defiance, before the Great Tusk opted for a headlong rush. Great googly moogly! That's an insane amount of damage. VGC toughed it out so she could set up a Toxic before being taken out of it. Her valiant effort was not in vain, however, as this enabled Lancelot to come in. At this point, the double defense drops were putting the Great Tusk in a precarious position, and I knew that, with the Toxic damage about to start ramping up, this Great Tusk wasn't going to stick around for long. Lancelot was about to go on an all-out protein diet, bulking up on the weakened Great Tusk, who elected to go for some Stealth Rocks to hamper our ability to freely switch out. Little did Bruno realise, this Corviknight was here to stay, as we went for another bulk up on the predicted switch. The incoming Pokemon was that scary Zacian, bolstered by an Intrepid Sword boost. This was about to become a war of attrition, with both Lancelot and Zacian using the first turn of their exchange to boost their stats with a bulk up and sword stance. Then came the damage exchange. Both Pokemon were sitting at +3 in their respective stats, but Lancelot boasted the superior typing, resisting both possible stab types from his opponent. The Behemoth Blade was gobbled up by Lancelot before unleashing his secret weapon, Body Press. Body Press deals damage based on a Pokemon's defense stat, rather than attack as would usually be the case, and thanks to Bulk Up, we had been steadily increasing ours to the point Body Press had become significantly boosted. Just under half of Zacian's health was gone in an instant. Sensing we had the upper hand here, I elected to go for another Bulk Up to bolster our damage even further, ensuring that we could take down the Zacian with the next attack. The Reflect ended during this time, but Lancelot had enough bulk now to easily tank another hit before claiming victory. We were sitting pretty at this point. With the majority of Bruno's Pokemon seemingly hitting on the physical side, Lancelot was hopefully going to be sticking around for a good while yet to come. Bruno had other ideas though, choosing this as the moment to reveal his next Pokemon, Lucario. Lucario was a problem for a number of reasons. There was a good chance this was a Mega Pokemon, and even if it wasn't, there was an equally good chance it could be a Pokemon that held a Focus Sash. However, the worst part was that this Pokemon could be either a physical attacker or a special attacker. Worst case scenario here is that this was about to reveal a Mega Lucario knowing special moves like Aura Sphere to hit us on our weaker side. But what are the odds, right? Somehow, Lancelot stood firm, and we could get our attack in. I went for a dual Wing Beat for security reasons against the Focus Sash, and took down the Lucario in a single turn. Bruno was down to 2 Pokemon now, and Lancelot was still looking relatively healthy behind its stat boosts. His next Pokemon though was another headache, Iron Hands. A defensive powerhouse in its own right, sporting the type advantage over Lancelot on both counts, being a fighting electric type. From this range, there was a good chance we were getting knocked out by whatever it went for. We did, however, have one advantage on our side. Iron Hands is slow as soup, and we'd be able to roost before it did anything. As an added bonus, this would also remove our electric weakness on the turn that we roost. This strategy does come with a caveat though. We'd leave ourselves open to fighting type attacks, and again, due to the range of damage, who knew what this Iron Hands was going to go for? We rolled the dice and went for recovery, unable to actually see if it was the right choice or not, due to an inbound fake out flinching us for a turn. We rolled the dice again, with a little more health this time, and were punished with a Drain Punch. Fortunately, even though it was super effective, those defense boosts were coming in clutch, with Lancelot tanking the damage, so much so that we could rinse and repeat to go back to full health. Now it was our turn to take the offense, with Lancelot swooping around his prey mercilessly to chip away at its resolve. A couple of turns later, and the Iron Hands was completely overwhelmed. The Great Tusk returned to the fray, however being a physical attacker, there was not much it could do to Lancelot outside of a critical hit. One thing it could do though, was remove our passive recovery from leftovers, thanks to a well-placed knockoff, before it was taken out by another dual Wing Beat. At this point, Lancelot was soaring with a 4 KO streak. The loss of leftovers would hamper us a bit, but it was looking like the sweep really was on, until it returned. Urshifu, the maker of our demise in the last battle. Though this was the Rapid Strike form on this occasion, both forms of Urshifu had the ability to learn a move which could be our undoing. See, even though we currently sat at a +4 in defense, that would count for naught if we were hit by a critical hit. And this particular variant had access to a move which will always result in a critical hit. Always. I could do nothing but hope as I went for a dual Wing Beat, fully anticipating a Surging Strikes coming our way. Blow by blow, the Surging Strikes struck Lancelot, each critical hit more powerful than the last. As the attack finished, it was as if the air stood still for a moment, and a lone figure stood tall. Lancelot had toughed it out, and could retaliate with its own combo of dual Wing Beat, striking down the Urshifu in return. All that remained now was an Iron Valiant, an incredibly fast Pokemon who was a threat to the rest of my team if left unchecked. We were looking at a potential reverse sweep here, if this was a special variant, and of course, it was. A Shadow Ball came in, calling in the end of Lancelot's run, and seeking to prevent him from getting that lucrative 6-0 sweep. Except, they hadn't heard. Lancelot was the main character of this encounter, surviving with a sliver of health. Somehow, against all odds, he had absorbed the shadows like they were nothing, and launched his final dual wing leap to claim victory over Bruno in an overwhelming display of heart and resoluteness. Thanks to that performance, we had earned access to the third member of the Elite Four, the spooky spokeswoman herself, Agatha. Shuffling up the team, I was taking no chances, making sure I had some failsafes in case we needed to hit that emergency delete button. This was going to be our first run-in with Agatha, so we had no idea what menaces she would be bringing to the Thunderdome. Preparations completed, it was time for the next Elite Four showdown. Agatha started strong, leading with the greatest Pokemon of all time, Gengar, while we had led with the old reliable VGC. The light screen went up immediately to weaken whatever it was going to throw at us, as it decided to go for a taunt. Not something you see every day, this Gengar clearly meant business, as it was looking to flinch us with a Dark Pulse on the next turn. Thankfully VGC broke through and was able to slow swap out with a Volt Switch. Which actually revealed we hadn't been fighting a Gengar at all. It was a Zoroark, hidden behind an illusion. Ultimately, it didn't change our plans, as we went into MVP regardless. Thanks to his move coverage, he would have been able to take down the Gengar or Zoroark regardless, ensuring we wouldn't lose a speed tie thanks to his trusty Choice Scarf. It did mean we were locking into Dazzling Gleam, so there was a high likelihood we'd need to swap back out again. An incoming Flutter Mane cemented this, particularly as it had its speed boosted upon entering the battle. The predicament we found ourselves in this time was who we'd need to swap out to, as 4 of my team were weak to its typing, and Lancelot didn't have the best special defense to take a hit either. After much deliberation, Tyranitar was chosen to represent our side of the field, the thought process being that, with the Light Screen, Sandstorm and Assault Vest, even a Stab Fairy type move was going to be doing little damage to us anyway. A Shadow Ball hit us for 11 total damage. Wowee! Sensing that she was severely outmatched here, Agatha sent out what I can only describe as my nemesis, Marshadow. Whenever I face this Pokemon in battle, it always causes me problems, and this was going to be no different. A quad effective move was inbound. We needed to get T-Tar out of there ASAP. The good thing was I had a number of Pokemon that could take a fighting type move without breaking a sweat, with Slingshot coming in to render the Marshadow's close combat completely useless. With Dragapult being one of the fastest Pokemon in the game, I knew we would be able to outspeed the Marshadow here, with a Phantom Force, meaning that if this thing wasn't Scarfed, we'd be safe from whatever attack it went for. And if it was Scarfed, it would have to switch out anyway due to being locked into a close combat. As Slingshot hid in the shadows, Agatha switched out the Marshadow with Flutter Mane, which was perfect because the Flutter Mane outsped Slingshot, meaning its Moonblast could do nothing but attack the empty space before Slingshot took it down on the next attack. It was in this moment that Agatha decided to unleash her ultimate strategy and expose my greatest weakness: a severe lack of modern game Pokemon knowledge, as she sent in a Xianpao. I had no idea what this thing wanted to do to me, nor what its stat spread was. I could see it was a part Dark-type Pokemon, but how strong was it? How fast was it? Both of its typings were super effective on me, so if I didn't outspeed, I would more than likely be cooked here. My safest strategy here was to switch out, but surely it couldn't be faster than Dragapult, right? Base 142 speed? There's no way! I went for a U-turn to scout. No. My heart sank as I saw the opposing Xianpao used... Luckily, it only used Ice Shard, so that meant we would only take a little bit of... Holy moly, I was wrong! But we survived at least, and could get off a slower U-turn to safely bring in Metallica, who could respond with a swift Bullet Punch on the next turn to take it down. Woo! Older gens rock! There wasn't time to enjoy this victory though, as the Marshadow was back with a vengeance, and ready to start dishing out some serious punishment. Unfortunately, it didn't look like it had taken enough damage for us to take it down with a Bullet Punch, so I elected it best to go for a Zen Headbutt to seal the KO, in case it wanted to hit us with a Spectral Thief's Shadow Sneak combo, which Marshadow was certainly more than capable of doing. As expected, its signature move Spectral Thief was revealed to deal out some massive damage, but fortunately we were able to take it down with that Zen Headbutt. The battle was really heating up as Agatha went into her next Pokemon, Goldengo, a solid Pokemon of Steel and Ghost typing. Metallica was at a disadvantage here, being vulnerable to those hard-hitting Ghost type moves, and we couldn't go for an Earthquake due to a pesky air balloon being revealed. I deliberated who to go into here, as we definitely needed to swap out. VGC could come in and set up screens, or we could hard swap into Tyranitar, who would absorb the incoming Ghost type attack. I went with the latter this time, thinking brute forcing it with a crunch on our next turn was the best play. We took the Shadow Ball as anticipated and prepared to launch our attack, when it was revealed that this Goldengo had access to the setup move, Nasty Plot. Meaning if we had gone into VGC, we'd have been at a real risk of getting swept here. Tyranitar wasn't risking any rolls today, unleashing a critically placed crunch to take down the Goldengo in a single chomp, which meant there was only one Pokemon left to do battle with. A Gengar. A Mega Gengar. This was it, the ultimate test of Tyranitar's tankiness. We knew a Focus Blast was coming. We also knew Gengar couldn't take a single crunch. This was it. The final exchange which would decide the fate of the entire battle. If you ignore the fact that I still had like a full team in the back. The Titans stood their ground, as the Gengar vehemently gave it everything it had to ensure that the Focus Blast connected. The energy shook the very ground of the arena, striking Tyranitar for 4 times damage. The Sandstorm and Assault Vest were reducing this as best they could until it was revealed. Tyranitar was solid as a rock. Having weathered the storm, he locked jaws one last time as the Gengar was taken out. Agatha was beaten, on our first time of asking. Somehow, this ragtag band of misfits were actually pulling off the impossible. All that remained was one last challenge before we could claim our title as the Pokemon League champion. As we headed into the final room, the one who called himself a champion on our last meeting was waiting for us. This was getting serious now. We were on the pinnacle of greatness, and needed to make sure we kept that focus that had got us this far. Once again, we were going in blind, but this time against the region's strongest trainer. The setup needed to be perfect, with the team being tweaked to suit battle against a host of Dragon-style Pokemon. We'd seen previously during our Giovanni encounter just how strong Lance's B-listers were, so we could only imagine the terrifying force about to be laid out in front of us on the biggest stage of all. After some serious tinkering, the team was ready for what may have been our final test upon becoming the Pokemon champion of the world. With a thunderous roar, we were locked into the fight of our lives, with a mighty Garchomp selected as Lance's first champion. VGC was at a clear disadvantage here, unable to land any attacks on the Garchomp, but she continued to do her job of mitigating whatever damage she could with a Reflect before taking a huge hit from an Earthquake. VGC's worth was not through here though, switching her out before seeing her succumb to a second Earthquake, instead bringing in Lancelot to avoid the attack altogether. Now was the perfect time to start setting up our defences, with Lancelot bulking up as the Garchomp set up rocks on my side of the field. Knowing that Garchomp likely couldn't touch us with its Earth and Dragon-type moves, this was a golden opportunity for us to start setting up a sweep. We went for a second bulk up, and saw our attack go first. For the experienced among you, this is a worrying sign, as it means the Garchomp went for a move with a lower priority, which, in this instance, probably only meant one thing. Roar. Just like that, Lancelot was forced out of action, losing all of its stat boosts. Lance was not going to allow us to have our way here, that much was clear. Tyranitar came in, setting up a Sandstream and leaving me praying this wasn't a Sandvale Garchomp that we had just created. In a clash of juggernauts, Tyranitar and Garchomp exchanged blows, with T-Tar narrowly missing the one-hit KO with an Ice Punch, and getting hurt by the Garchomp's rough skin in the process. Preserving T-Tar for later, we switched back to Lancelot to avoid another Earthquake before attempting to take down the Garchomp with a Body Press. Lance was refusing to let this Garchomp go down though, electing to swap out to an Iron Jugulis to take the attack. We took a moment to gather ourselves here, after this intense passage of play. I wasn't sure what the Jugulis was planning to do here. There was a good chance we were going to see a Fire-based attack, as Hydreigon gets access to both Flamethrower and Fire Blast, and by association, so probably did Iron Jugulus. So trying to set up was a no-go. In truth, I wanted to go back into Tyranitar here, but I checked and saw that the sand was only going to be up for one more turn. We needed to stall out another turn so that when T-Tar came in, the sand would be able to be set up again. I chose that it was best to scout with a Roost on this occasion, healing off any potential damage we might be about to take. It was revealed that the Jugulus did indeed have a Flamethrower in its arsenal, and it did a chunk of damage, but fortunately the majority of this could be recovered from that Roost. Now the initiative was back with us. The sandstorm had subsided, and that meant when Tyranitar came back in, we'd be able to comfortably take the imminent Flamethrower. Our health was low here, so every little bit of damage saved could prove crucial. But I had miscalculated something. Those stealth rocks. It was here I made a critical error. Getting caught in two minds, I decided to bring Lancelot back in, thinking I would be able to whittle down the Iron Jugulus with the sandstorm damage, while baiting a fire type attack to allow me to pivot swap into Slingshot, who could then outspeed the Jugulus and take it down on the following turn. The issue was the stealth rock damage. I had allowed Lancelot to get low enough health-wise that the Iron Jugulus now saw a KO with more than just its fire-type moves. There was a chance that this Pokemon was packing a strong Dark-type move, such as Dark Pulse, that would have enough power to take down Lancelot at the range it was at. And this would decimate Slingshot upon entry. It was all I could do at this moment, but go back into Tyranitar, and chalk that loss as down to a mistake on my part. It was revealed that this Pokemon had access to the Dark-type move Dark Hole, which does even more damage than the expected Dark Pulse. So the consolation here was we didn't completely waste a healthy Pokemon. We had also stalled enough turns that MVP could come in and use its speed to take down the Jugulus with a Dazzling Gleam. Once again, Lance was on form, anticipating this to be the case and changing to another Pokemon, this time revealing that he had a Melmetal in his ranks. Our Dazzling Gleam did nothing. I could sense we were probably going to lose another Pokemon at this point. Melmetal is extremely bulky and hits really hard on the physical side. MVP couldn't stay in here, but whatever came in was going to lose a chunk of health to either an Earthquake, a strong Steel-type move, or whatever else the Melmetal was about to throw our way. There was a weakness with this Melmetal though, and it was similar to the one we saw on the Iron Hands, in that it was agonisingly slow. I formulated a strategy on the spot. Similarly as we had done before, we were going to take advantage of the Pokemon's slow speed and attempt to set up with Lancelot again. Using a mix-up of bulk ups and roosts, we'd gradually be able to gain strength and take down the Melmetal in a 1v1. Unfortunately, it meant we had to lose VGC in order to guarantee a clean switch in. And so, the grind began again. I expected the Melmetal probably had access to an Elemental Punch, and was gambling that it would be Thunder Punch over Fire Punch, as I initially went for a Roost to heal off some of the damage we had already taken. Thankfully, it was revealed that it was indeed the Electric type move, meaning it would not be super effective on the turns which we roosted. Thanks to the defense boost from the bulk up, we'd be able to take the next Thunder Punch and heal up again, gradually taking less and less damage each time. Then, the inevitable happened. As we were starting to get the ball rolling, the next Thunder Punch landed, and inflicted paralysis upon Lancelot. This was a disaster. We could no longer roost before the Melmetal's attacks, meaning that those electric type punches were always going to be super effective against him. And to make things worse, there was now a chance we wouldn't be able to attack at all. Nevertheless, we had to try. We were through the looking glass now, and had to follow the journey through to its destination. There was a chance we would survive another punch, and might be able to roost for some big heals. And then, there was another twist in this tale. For some reason, the AI had changed things up, and went for a double Iron Bash. To this day, I still don't fully understand why. Unless it saw that it could KO me with max rolls on this attack, Thunder Punch was always the logical play. We survived by the skin of our teeth, and broke through the paralysis to heal off the damage. We were playing with fire now, one paralysis away from defeat. However, I was finally putting that mathematics degree to good use at last. With another bulk up, we'd be in a position to comfortably start taking thunder punches and seeing our net healing far outweigh the damage being received. Risking it all, I locked in another bulk up. Yet again, Lance could foresee this danger, choosing to shake things up again by swapping to another new Pokemon, Dragonite. There could only be one reason for this. He was about to start dancing.
Hola, te traigo mi suave. Regresé de entre los muertos con música de YouTube que cumple con los derechos de autor.
Not that kind of dancing. Dragon dancing. We had the advantage here, in that we successfully had managed to set up 2 bulk ups, but we needed to match the Dragonite's boosts if we were going to stand a chance. Lancelot courageously fought through the paralysis, matching the Dragonite 3 times of asking. At +5 defense, I had to hope we had enough to take a potential fire punch at any point, and be able to deal decent enough damage with our body presses to take down the Dragonite in front of us. It seemed like Dragonite had decided now was the time to start striking, as it prepared its assault using Dual Wing Beat. This baffled me at first, but then it clicked. This Dragonite had nothing to hit me with. My heart soared as I felt we actually might be able to take down Lance's first Pokemon. Slowly, both Pokemon chipped away at each other's health until Lancelot's health was approaching the halfway point. This was the moment that we needed to roost to ensure we went into the next encounter with as much health as possible. And then, it happened. Critical hit, full paralysis. We had been riding our luck to this point, and the paralysis was always coming. I just wish it hadn't been on such a pivotal turn. Momentum had gotten away from us again, leaving us vulnerable to another critical hit. We had no choice but to risk it. We went for the roost again, and managed to tank the dual wing beats. It all came down to whether we could break through the paralysis. And we did! Lancelot was back up to a healthy position, and we could close out against the Dragonite at last. Dodging those critical hits again, Lancelot was able to body press and take down his opponent. We were finally on the board, and with Lancelot set up to try and deal some serious damage. And we clearly had Lance shaken, at least a little bit, as he went into Salamence, who was more than likely going to be his Mega Pokemon. Sure enough, his Mega Ring started glowing as the Mega was revealed. But the real test was whether this was a physically or specially built Mega Salamence. If it was the former, we had considerable bulk at this point, and could likely survive a number of fire-based attacks. As the attacks were revealed, it became clear that this was a physical attacker, with the Salamence dancing to raise its speed and attack. Before we rejoice too much though, dear viewers, this is a double-edged sword. While it meant we had time on our side to sponge up attacks, it also meant if the Salamence was able to take down Lancelot after a couple of boosts, that would be game over for us, as we had nothing to handle this sweep after Lancelot. Plus, we still had that potential Parahax to deal with too. Our first body press went through. Trying to gauge how much damage it could do, the Salamence revealed a Fire Fang. It did decent damage, but not enough to worry us without a crit. Our second body press went through. The Salamence danced once more, storing even more power. Our third body press would have to wait. The rhythm was in full flow as the Salamence went for a third dance. Lancelot managed to break through again, putting Salamence into the red. Whatever happened now, we had a chance thanks to our Bullet Punch Metallica in the back. Fearing this was its last chance to attack, the Salamence risked it all with a double edge, recklessly throwing itself in our direction to score some big damage. Though I couldn't help but feel Fire Fang was definitely the better play here, thanks to its chance to flinch. Lancelot managed to break through once again and finish off the Salamence, claiming victory over the second of Lance's Pokemon. And with this came Lance's wrath. He revealed what his last Pokemon was, a Primal Dialga. This Pokemon was clearly Lance's trump card, and you could sense momentum changing hands again. Primal Dialga has a unique ability, Primal Armor, which essentially reduces damage taken by super effective hits against it, meaning it effectively had no weaknesses. Being a Dialga, it also most likely hit on the special side as well, which Lancelot had no defence against, and was likely going to fall at this hurdle. All I could do was hope by some miracle we'd live an attack and possibly be able to do some damage before saying goodbye to Lancelot. To my shock, we went first, and managed to break through the paralysis yet again to land a body press. But Lancelot's reign was coming to an end here, as the Dialga used Roar of Time, which had been altered for Radical Red, to act similarly to moves like Dragon Tail, whereby the user acts with lower priority but deals damage and forces the opposing Pokemon out of battle, meaning that Lancelot had once again lost all of his boosts as he was expelled from the battlefield. Another shrewd move from our champion friend. Little did he realise, though, the true terror that he had just unleashed. For you see, as MVP entered the battlefield, he had activated my trap card. If you'll recall, I mentioned something earlier about my delete all button, and it was for moments such as these that I had geared up MVP the way I had. Alongside some excellent coverage, I had outfitted MVP with the move Destiny Bond, a move which takes down an opposing Pokemon if it knocks out your Pokemon after the move has been used, as well as a Choice Scarf to ensure MVP outsped any threats in order to use it. This was the exact moment MVP had been waiting for. This Dialga was going to take us down, but we were taking it down with us. MVP prepared itself for the Pokeball, while the Dialga fired a flash cannon in his direction. The move obliterated MVP, as he fainted with a smirk across his face. The Dialga fell moments later. The battle had been reduced to a 3-on-3 from this point on. Slingshot boldly entered the field for the first time, coming up against the Melmetal. This was the perfect opportunity to reduce its offensive power with a well-placed Will-O-Wisp, cutting the Melmetal's attack in two, meaning we could live an incoming Ice Punch, and also stall out some burn turns thanks to the use of Protect. With the Melmetal weakened, there was a chance for the Lancelot to come back in and possibly heal off some of the damage it had taken. It was a long shot, considering how weak he had become, but at the very least, it was a few more turns of burn damage that could chip away at the Melmetal. Ultimately, it did prove too much for Lancelot, who couldn't get an attack in before being taken down by a double Iron Bash and Thunder Punch combo attack. Slingshot came in to whittle down a couple more turns of burn damage, and chipped away further damage with its Dragon Darts, before being taken down itself. And so everything fell to our final Pokemon, Metallica. It was a 3v1 situation, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking we were heading back to Nurse Joy after another slice of defeat. But we had another trump card up our sleeve. Before the battle, I had taught Metallica the move Power Up Punch, which would allow us to slowly gather up attack power each time it was used. Thanks to the hard work and the effort put in by the team earlier, Lance's remaining Pokemon had suffered a hefty chunk of damage, with none of them remaining above half health, and Melmetal lacked the strength or speed to take down Metallica with a single attack, which meant this setup was completely free. Metallica began powering up with its first power-up punch, gaining an attack boost, meanwhile absorbing an earthquake from the opposing Behemoth. Another power-up punch was enough to take it down, while bolstering Metallica up another stage in attack. And this is where the trump card came into full effect. Garchomp came in, expecting to be able to finish off Metallica with an earthquake attack, but it was so low on health that Metallica could easily take it down with a bullet punch before it even had a chance to think. All that remained now was that Iron Jugulus, which had been worn down by T-Tar's Sandstorm and Lancelot's persistence. Faster than you can bat an eyelash, Metallica saw its opportunity to fire off another bullet punch, with the attack boost from those power-up punches ensuring that it had enough behind it to take down the Iron Jugulus. And with that final action, the battle was over. We had beaten the Elite Four at long last, and could claim the title as Pokemon League Champion. Except, we all know that's not how this goes. There was one who had become the Pokemon League Champion just moments before us, and I think you can all guess who. That's right, the old guy who called us to catch Pokemon in Viridian City. He finally made it, after all of these years of training. Let's go! Way to represent the over 25s like a champ! Just kidding. There was only one person it could be. Gary. Our OG rival from Pallet Town. Lance's chamber stood silent as we began our final preparations. There was no indication as to what we were about to encounter. No typings we could lean on to be expecting, no weather conditions, no terrains. All we had was a hope and a dream. Win or lose, this would be our final battle. We'd risk it all for that one shot at glory, putting everything on the line for this final showdown.
Recruit, you could just re-challenge us all again if you lose.
Lance's final words of encouragement urged me forward. I could see it in his eyes too. He knew it was the end, and there'd be no turning back from this point.
No, really, Coop. Re-entry is free. We've got a special deal on at the moment.
Thank you, Lance. I was trying to set the tone for an epic finale. My bad humour aside, I cannot begin to describe how much my heart was pounding in this moment. The feelings I felt took me back to that first time I had managed to take down Lance's dragons in Pokemon Blue, holding that Game Boy in my hand as I nervously braced myself for whatever was about to come my team's way. All that's left for me to say is, whatever the outcome of this battle may be, it has been an absolute pleasure to experience this game with you all, and I hope you enjoy this as much as I have loved filming it. Now hold on to your hats, everyone. We could be in for a bumpy ride.
Coop, do you know what that means? I'll tell you. I am the most powerful trainer in the world. Oh, there's that music as well. Oh gosh. All right, let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got. I've got goosebumps. I have got goosebumps right now. Right, what's the lead? Pheromosa. That's not good. That's not good. Okay. So Pheromosa is really fast, and also I'm pretty sure that the special attack and the attack are both the same for this Pokemon. I don't think you're gonna. I mean, it's Sash. There's because Pheromosa has no defense. There's 100% Sash. So I think what we have to do. I don't even know if we can take a special attack or a physical attack here. I think we have to assume that we're going to take a special attack and we go for the reflect, because there's no way that we're going to be taking a physical attack if this is physically built. So I think going reflect is the play here, and what we have to hope, because if this is, then, you know, the Rocky Helmet is going to break the Sash. So if not, we'll get up a light screen next turn and VGC will go down, barring a crit. I don't want to mention that word, but yeah, I think we're just going to go for it. We're just going to go for the reflect. So go for the reflect up. Goes for a U-turn. Oh, that doesn't tell me anything, really. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine, because we have got the reflect up, which is really good. If they now go... That moment when I said it was fine, it's a lot less fine, because I can't toxic this because this is the poison type. I think I've just got to go for a light screen, right? Yeah, I think I just go for a light screen here, because it's a special attacker, so the reflect is currently doing nothing. We should be able to eat something once we've got the light screen up, which is fine. So I am going to go for that light screen now. The good thing is as well, we have broken the Sash on that Pheromosa as well. Dynamax Cannon, okay, that's Dragon type. That's going to do a lot of damage. That is going to do a lot of damage. But we have the light screen. Okay, no, it didn't do as much as I thought. Okay, so what's the strategy here? We're going to change. Do I go for a slow Volt switch to get like a... I mean, really, I think my answer to this is... It's Godzilla. Because we've got the light screen up, we're going to get the Sandstorm going, and it means we're going to be taking... I don't think this thing gets Focus Blast either. I'm pretty sure this thing doesn't get a Focus Blast. I'm probably completely wrong with that. Yeah, I think we go Godzilla. I think we go Godzilla and we just take whatever it's going to throw at us, right? Because if it goes for Dynamax, this is going to do absolutely nothing. Because we've got the light screen. Okay, so we've got the light screen, Dynamax Cannon. This is going to do maybe 20%, maybe even less than that. Wow. That's crazy. That is crazy just how little damage. And, you know, just in case this thing is... I haven't seen Nightingale yet. I don't think I saw an air balloon, right? I don't think I saw an air balloon. So do I go for the Earthquake here? I go for the Earthquake. You might see that, and if it's doing that little damage... No, just go for it. That's what's it, Meteor Beam or something. Okay. Special attack Rose, that's not good. That is not good at all. Okay, Power Herb. Okay, so the Power Herb is what its items. So there's Meteor Beam, yeah. Okay, this could do a lot because now it's got a special attack. Wow. Okay, no, we're still fine. Okay, this is good. This is a really good matchup then. Because this should do half. This should do half, right? Oh yeah, brilliant. Okay, okay. So that's going to take it. Do I risk a... Okay, at this point, do I go for a Stone Edge? Because I've revealed that I've got an Earthquake now, right? So now if it thinks I'm going to go for an Earthquake again... Like a Stone Edge... Does a Stone Edge at this range take it out? It's going to be 150 effectively base. There's a chance to miss as well. There is a chance to miss, which is why I can't. I don't think an Ice Punch takes this out based on how much the... Actually, no, the Earthquake did... Okay. No, we go for the Earthquake. Oh, he's got Flamethrower. Okay, just don't burn. Don't burn. Don't burn. Okay, no burn. That's huge. Okay. Whew. Okay, I wonder if the AI went for that trying to get a burn. That's just crazy. Okay, that is an Eternatus taken down. That's fine. Is that's one down? I think that's one down, right? That's just one down. I'm so nervous. Okay, no more Reflect. That's not good. Miraidon. Electric Dragon, and it's got Hadron Engine. Okay. Oh, it sets... Okay, so that's setting up an electric terrain. Okay, so Light Screen's still up. Yeah, Light Screen's still up for one more turn. This is a special attacker as well. I'm pretty sure this is a special attacker. I think... Because I think Koraidon is the physical attacker. So I think... No, because your ability is not Levitate or anything like that. I think we can go for another... Earthquake here, right? An Earthquake's pretty free. Unless it's going to do a pivot swap or something. Because it knows... Surely not. Oh, Calm... Okay. Okay. So we're going to lose the Light Screen. It's going for the Calm Mind. It's going to be stronger. We are... Oh, when does the Sandstorm end? No, I think the Sandstorm's fine. I think the Sandstorm's fine. We get one more turn of Sandstorm. So that's going to get buffered to there. What's the item? Leftovers. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Light Screen's gone. It is boosted. I don't think this gets... anything could have Focus Blast at this point. But the problem is I don't... If it doesn't have Focus Blast and it doesn't see a KO here... If it doesn't see a KO, it's going to go Calm Mind, which makes me think I don't swap. Because if I swap, I'm all but... I can't allow it to get another Calm Mind, because if it gets another Calm Mind, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. I think after this turn, because we're going to lose the Sandstorm, we'll have to start thinking about swapping Godzilla out, because Godzilla's going to be getting pretty low after whatever this wants to go for. I mean, we'll see what happens here. I think we can take an attack. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. That is a Gen 9 move. Okay, we take it. We're not in a good position here, though. This is not ideal. We're very, very low health. We have no more Sandstorm. But that's a second Pokemon gone. That's 2 Pokemon. Sandstorm's gone. Oh, you 100% have Focus Blast. Right? You definitely have Focus Blast. Or it's got a really strong dark... So, okay. So let's break this. This is definitely... See, Veltor's another one of those Pokemon that could go either way. I'm pretty sure it has very similar attack and special attack. I feel that Radical Red is going to be wanting to make use of Oblivion Wing, which is a special attack. I think we have to go Lancelot here. I think we have to go Lancelot because we need to get... Oh, what we could do... Okay, yeah, this could work because we basically go, like, as far as we can with Lancelot versus this thing, maybe. And then we get VGC in. We bring in VGC, we set up the Light Screen, and then we set up a Toxic, maybe. I think we go Lancelot. I'm doing it. I think this is the play we have to do because we have to start... We're ahead in terms of the numbers that we have, and I don't want to lose... Godzilla just yet. Oh wait, what did it go for? Well, oh, did that go for Sucker Punch? Because it failed? Oh, is that an issue? Oh, crumbs. Okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna be slower here. We can save Lancelot. We can go for a slow U-turn, right? I don't think there's any disadvantage for us going to a slower U-turn here, because we're gonna see what it's gonna go for, and it should reveal a move that it's got, and then that'll give us a little bit of information. So I'm pretty sure that just went for a sucker punch. I'm pretty sure, because it failed, and I don't think what else it would go. That means it's now scary to go to Godzilla. Okay. Let's do. Yeah, let's go for a slow U-turn. I nearly clicked the wrong button. I'm being so slow with all my presses. This is crazy. Yeah, let's go for U-turn. Okay, it's got Dark Hole. Okay, so that's the Dark type move. Does this just take us out? Surely not. Surely this can't just take us out in one hit. The animation on that is really cool as well. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, that's definitely like special attack as well. So I think that confirms it. Right, let's go VGC. Let's set up our light screen. Yeah, let's go for our light screen here. I don't know if we're going to take an attack here, even with the light screen up. If it goes for that move again. I wonder if this doesn't take us out, I wonder if it's going to get locked into going for Sucker Punch. We do take it. Okay. Range returns normal. Okay, so it's lost that. It's lost that, right? Okay. Right, let's go Toxic, because we're going to go first, unless it goes for a Sucker Punch. And then I think... Oh, then it's a mind game play. Right. So we go for Toxic. Why did that? This happened with the Urshifu as well. Why did the Toxic not work? Why did the Toxic not work on that? That's... Okay, what do we do here? What do we do here? So, who do we need? Who do we need in this situation? It's... MVP I do not want to lose. MVP is the one that I do not want to lose in this instance, because just being able to outspeed with that choice scarf, just that destiny bond, I feel we have to risk that Sucker Punch. I feel we just have to risk the Sucker Punch and just go for the Stone Edge and just hope that we can take it out. I just want to hit. Because then what that means is I think Metallica can take it down with a bullet punch. I think we just got to go. Godzilla here. And we gotta hope, guys. Keep everything crossed. We've got the light screen up, so that's absolutely brilliant. We've got, like, if it fires off like any of its attack, I can't even go for just a crunch. Right, I need to make sure I go for the right move here. Right, moment of truth. Do we live a Sucker Punch? We should live this. Come on, we should live this. This is a special attack. I'll do nothing. Okay, that's awesome. I did a little bit, don't. Just connect. That's why you go for Rock Slide. Oh no! That's such a critical miss! Oh gosh. I mean, the Oblivion Wing did nothing. It did absolutely nothing, but we're edging ever closer to a potential Sucker Punch now. Because maybe the Sucker Punch didn't take me out, and that's why it's just gone for that. Oh. Right, we do the same again. We don't have a choice. We just got to do the same again. Live. Okay, we lived. Connect. Please connect. And crit. Pay me back with a crit. Please just crit. We didn't need it. We didn't need the crit. Okay, let's go. Okay, that is actually huge. Okay, guys, I'm daring to dream. I am daring to dream right now. We have got Godzilla putting in work, guys. Godzilla putting in actual work. Oh no, he became our nemesis. Okay. Ditto. Okay. Oh no! I've got such good coverage on this thing as well. Such good coverage. I don't think we're going to outspeed. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I am pretty sure this is going to be choice scarfed. Because anyone that rocks a ditto, like one of the standard things that you do when you do like imposter dittos, you put a choice scarf on, right? So it's fine because we can let, regrettably, we can let Godzilla go down here. And we'll assume that it's locked into something, right? So let's see what it goes for. I'm going to just fire off an earthquake. It goes for crunch. I think that's quite possibly the worst move that it could go for. I think it's quite possibly the worst move that that could go for. Okay, oh, crunch is so bad. Crunch is so bad. That's super effective on... Oh, gosh. Okay. Right, you'll outspeed. Do I like this tactic? If we go for the power punch and we live the crunch, we're in a really good position because then we'll see if we're faster. If we're not fast, we just go for a bullet punch because this thing's going to be locked into it. I think that is the strategy here. I think that is the strategy because I don't see another way. Like, you guys might be saying there's another way. We're going to go for Metallica here. I've got to remember to do the Mega Evolution as well. The Mega Evolution is going to be, like, huge. So, we do this. We fight. Activated. Off. Activated. Off. Activated. Okay. We go for the power punch. That's me. I thought it was them for... I was like, oh no, please don't tell me. Wait, have I seen their Mega? Have I seen their Mega Pokemon? Oh, who's their Mega Pokemon? Well, that's a lot of damage. Oh, wow, okay. There's Crunch. Please just do not crit. I mean, to be fair, at least we're going to outspeed. Okay, that's really good. Okay. Sunset does nothing. Okay, so Samsung's going to be breaking this turn. We go... Do I go for another power-up punch here? Do I just go for an earthquake? Because we outsped. Yeah, we outsped. We definitely outsped, right? I'm pretty sure that we outsped. Oh, I wish I paid more attention. I was just watching the damage. No, I'm pretty sure we did. I'm pretty sure we... Because I'm wondering if it's just worth firing off an earthquake in this. You know, just in case it decides that it's gonna change or something. No, this is that Caesar moment all over again with my dude not going for the bullet punch. I think we go for the bullet punch here, right? Okay, I just went for it. I think it's the smart play. I think it's the smart play because I didn't want to go for the earthquake. I was just like, no, I just don't want to do that. You know, just in case it decided to save it. Because that's an imposter ditto, right? Right. So this is the Mega. Oh gosh. Right. Okay. Good news. Good news. I'm just going to check this. I'm just going to check this right now. We are a speed nature, right? We are a speed nature, yeah. So whatever this thing does, at worst, this is the speed tie, right? At worst, this is a speed tie. So it's going to be good information for us to see what kind of nature this Pokemon's going to be. I think we just go for an earthquake here. I think we just fire up an earthquake. It's going to be Mega because this is the last Pokemon outside of that Theramosa, I think. I'm getting really nervous. Okay, this is... I think if we win the speed tie, because I imagine it's going to have a very similar set to us, right? I imagine it's probably going to have Earthquake, then Headbutt. Might not have Power Punch, because I think that's just me being loopy. It's going to have Bullet Punch. So we just have to beat it to an Earthquake here, right? Yeah, there's the Mega Evolution. I don't think an Earthquake takes this down, but what it does do is it puts us in a really good spot. Okay, it outspeeds, and it has Fire Punch. Okay, so this is Jolly as well. I think we go Slingshot here. Yeah. Yeah. And now we go Phantom Force. Right, let's go through the potential moves that we have here, guys. So, Fire Punch. Fire Punch makes me think it maybe doesn't have Earthquake. But I don't think it's ever clicking Earthquake. I think what we're going to see here is we're either going to see the Zen Headbutt, or we'll see something like Meteor Mash. I think Zen Headbutt's probably the safer one that it would go for. I do not think that we get outsped, because we are a Dragapult. Yeah, I think we just go Phantom Force. Because what I don't want to do is I don't want to go... I want to get damage on this thing. Like, I have to get damage on this thing. Yeah, so I go Phantom Force. With the Power Herb. I don't have Power Herb. Oh, I changed this to Lumberry. I didn't change that back from the Lumberry. That's okay. I don't think that's... Overall, it's not bad. Okay, so you went for Meteor Mash. That does a lot of damage. Okay, I should take a Meteor Mash. I should take a Meteor Mash. That attack boost is really bad. Because it's gonna... Okay, it's gonna go for Bullet Punch, but we outspeed with Sucker Punch. That is our play, 100%. We outspeed it with the Sucker Punch. The Sucker Punch goes... I don't know if Sucker Punch kills. The problem with that attack boost is so bad because now... Gengar, I think, probably would take a Bullet Punch. Now I don't know. Now I don't know. Hopefully this takes it out. It does. Okay, that's awesome. That is actually awesome. Okay. I think we might win. I think we win. I think we win. I think we win. Oh my gosh. I think we win. Okay, I just got to make sure. Clicking buttons. Right, we go Sucker Punch here. We just get as much damage on this as possible. There we go. Okay, yeah. Gengar's going to take this out, right? We might live that. We do live that. Okay, this is fine. Okay, now we just take out with whatever, right? Yeah, we just take out with Gengar. Are you? There's no way you're Scarfed. There's no way this is Scarfed, right? But it's gone for U-turn. Speed Rose. Oh no. Oh no. We don't outspeed now. Guys, I hope you're on the edge of your seats. This is... We don't outspeed. Do we live an attack? Any attack. Any attack. We can't even do anything with Lancelot. We can't even do anything with Lancelot because that's... If Lancelot goes down, right? We just gotta go for it. We just gotta go for it. We're not outspeeding now. We're not outspeeding now. Oh, the Beast Boost! Okay, Destiny Bond doesn't get priority, right? I don't think it does, because I don't think it does. I just click Shadow Ball. 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 Are you Scarfed? Are you actually Scarfed this whole time? I think that's game. I think that's actually game. Oh, let's go. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Guys, we did it. We did it. We beat the chat. I actually can't. Was that thing Scarfed? Was that thing Scarfed? Was it like a Scarfed U-turn lead? That's crazy. That's actually crazy. After all that work to become the league champ, my reign is already over. It's not fair. I cannot. I can't believe this team worked. I actually can't believe this worked. Oh my gosh. I actually can't. Oh, this takes me way back as well. This takes me so back. Oh, guys, I hope you enjoyed that battle. But I tell you, my heart is going a mile a minute right now. You have worked hard to become the new Pokemon League champion. Congratulations, Coop. You and your Pokemon are Hall of Famers. Let's go. Guys, that is Pokemon Radical Red officially beaten for the first time. I actually just cannot. I wonder if that, because I had never revealed Gengar, it went for U-turn thinking it was going to be the best move to hit all of my Pokemon. I don't know. I don't know, because, like, surely it would have a fighting type move. VGC, let's go VGC. Godzilla with the name change. Godzilla was an MVP, but MVP with the last as well. That makes me so happy. Slingshot as well. Metallica, that was such a good find. And Lancelot with the redemption as well. My gosh. I actually can't. Guys, thank you so much everyone for watching. There's your team. There's your champion, but we don't care about the champion. There's your team that won it, guys. My gosh, that jumped up by like an hour with the last one. Pokemon League champion. Alright guys, that's where I'm going to leave you. That's where I'm going to leave you. I will see you guys at some point soon. Thank you so much for watching as well. If you did like, do remember to like and subscribe to the video. It does help me out. And yeah, we'll see what adventure we have next.